All right. It's getting ready. It's probably showing live, but I don't want to start anything until we go. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We are super excited to have with us Abby Herman from the Content Experiment. Abby is someone that I used to be a client of Abby's. So, Deidre and I just did our relationship marketing talk a minute ago. And the power of relationship marketing is once you have those connections, they become so much more than just the one thing that it started out to be, right? So Abby is our content guru, and she has helped us streamline our content process at Encore Empire. And we love everything she does, and we follow everything she does. And we think you should too. So, welcome, Abby. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So like you said, I'm a content strategist. I work with online service-based business owners to help them simplify their visibility so that they don't feel like they're on this constant content creation hamster wheel. So I do that in a couple of ways. I work directly with business owners to help them on a one-on-one basis. And then my agency, we actually create the content for clients as well. So we do full service podcast management. We do content creation, blogging, email marketing. I help with creating strategies around content as well. So for those clients who want to DIY their content, but they don't know where to start, I help them with that as well.
That's fantastic. So, Abby, let's talk about why content is so important for business and visibility.
So we all have, like Carmen mentioned, relationship marketing, we all have our circle of influence that we have. We have our business friends, we have the clients that we're working with right now, but it's nice to get new clients and meet new people and kind of expand that reach a little bit. And we can do that through word of mouth, and word of mouth is a really great way to attract new people to you, and doing things like this and, coming on summits and being on other people's podcasts, that's all content as well. What we do is the actual, like the marketing piece where we're putting content out there onto the internet for people. And it's really important because attracting people to you is great, but they need some place to go once they get there. They need to have, they need to see what you're capable of. They need to see what your expertise is. They need to get to know you and your personality a little bit as well. And it's really hard to do that without content. I call it pillar content. So pillar content would be your blog, your YouTube channel, and your own podcast. That's content that you quote unquote own because it's on your website or because you're paying for hosting for someone to host that content for you, like you do with a podcast. And it's really important to have that because that's where you're going to educate people. That's where you're going to help them to get to know you a little bit better. And you're able to send them to the next step. So you've got somebody listening to your podcast or on your YouTube channel, and you have a link to your email list there because you're giving away something for free. So you're attracting them, you are engaging them, and then you are getting them on your list so that you can continue that relationship elsewhere. And it's really difficult to do that unless you have your own content marketing channels, like your pillar content, the blog, the podcast, or the YouTube channel.
And so that is a lot though, right? How do you not feel so overwhelmed by having all these places to go and all this content to post to make sure that you're making those connections?
So a couple of different ways. First of all, you absolutely do not have to be everywhere. You do not, just because I said blog, podcast, YouTube channel, you don't need to have all three. And if you're newer in business, I 100% don't recommend doing that because it is very overwhelming. It's a lot. Figure out, and I should also say too, you don't need to be on all of the channels either. So on all the social media channels. So I feel like every couple of months, there's something new to do. There's some new platform that, people are saying, oh, I'm over here now and I'm over here and, try out this new thing. And you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to be in all of the places. I'll use Clubhouse as an example, because Clubhouse seems to be, there may be some newer thing that I just haven't heard about yet. But Clubhouse, when Clubhouse first came around, everybody was jumping onto Clubhouse. I had a client who encouraged me to, she had a Clubhouse channel or account or whatever I don't know what they're called, because clearly I'm not there. I took my name, made sure that I had an account, and then I haven't really been on since, because it was just one more thing. And I have a podcast of my own, so I already have my own, place to have my audio content. So yeah, I don't recommend doing all of it. I recommend figuring out where your audience is. Where is your audience hanging out? And the only way you know where they're hanging out is by talking to them and asking them where they like to consume content. That's actually how I have my podcast right now, is because I did an audience survey. I asked my audience, where are you hanging out? What kind of content do you like to consume? They were hanging out on Instagram and they were listening to podcasts. And that's why I am on both of those platforms. So you don't have to do it all. I will say also that as you're creating your pillar content, it's really easy to take that pillar content and to repurpose it, find different ways to use it. So for example, if you're blogging, take pull quotes from what you're writing and use that in your captions. Use that in, create graphic quotes around some of the content that you're creating. You can do the same thing with your YouTube channel. Take clips and use that for promotion. You don't have to recreate the wheel every single time.
Now, Abby, what would you say to the business owner who's already publishing content regularly, but they're not getting any traction?
Again, talk to your audience and find out, are you actually publishing content where they're showing up? So for me, I spent a really long time blogging, and I blogged a lot. At one point, I don't remember what year it was, I was publishing 3 blog posts per week, and I wasn't getting, it's a lot of work, and I wasn't getting a lot of traction from it. And that is, because that's not where people were showing up. People were showing up in the podcast space or on videos at that point. So you need to know, where is your audience showing up? And then also ask yourself, is the information that I am publishing, whether it's on a social media platform or on one of those pillar platforms, is it really educational? Is it something that is engaging, or is it strictly promotional? So promotional content is great and it's necessary because people need to know what we do and how they can pay us for the things that we do. But they also want to be educated. Our audiences want to be educated. They're not checking out your blog and your YouTube channel to be sold to. They are checking it out because they have something that they need to learn, that they want to know about, and they're turning to you to get that information. So you have to make sure that you deliver that. Other things that you can do is search engine optimization. Make sure that you're using the proper keywords. I am not an SEO expert, but there are plenty of people out there who are. In fact, I think you have one speaking in the summit, if I remember correctly. But yeah, make sure that your content is optimized as well.
Yeah, those are excellent tips. And I don't see any comments, although we are experiencing tech issues. So some of you might see this after it's gone live, and we apologize for that. So drop your comments though underneath the video anyway, and we will make sure to get the questions to Abby and she will answer them. And then I want to remind you that if you want to discover how to create content that your audience wants, it's not too late to get the VIP pass for $77 today and tomorrow. And the price goes up on Sunday. So grab yours at Abby's link I dropped under the comments here, bit.ly/OYOB-Abby. And then she's also provided her Ask Your Audience challenge for free. And I can tell you, I've been through that. and it's excellent. In fact, Ask Your Audience Challenge is the first thing that I went through to get into Abby's world. And she pretty much sold me on that. So I highly recommend it. And you can get there. That link is also under under this video. It is at thecontentexperiment.com/optimize summit. So we really,
and can I add that the
Yeah.
Ask Your Audience Challenge, so this was such great timing for the Ask Your Audience Challenge. So I do offer it in an evergreen format, which means that it just like you can take it at any time, but I happen to be running it live for the first time since last September. And I'm doing that September 27th, starting I had to check my calendar. Starting Monday, September 27th through October 1st, I'm running it live, which means, when I talk about talking to your audience and asking your audience what they need and want and finding out where they're hanging out, that all comes from doing an audience survey. And there's a really strategic way to survey your audience so that you're asking the right people, because you do not want to ask your entire list and for really specific reasons. And then you want to ask them really specific questions too. And the way you ask the questions matters. And so I'm walking you through exactly how to do that next week. And if you're catching this late, you can still sign up and you'll get the evergreen version of it if you sign up after October 1st. But yeah, I'm really excited about it because I love doing it live, and I'm able to give you one-on-one really specific feedback if you're going through the challenge live and if you're doing your homework on a regular basis, because there is homework every day. I used to be a teacher, so there's homework. But yeah, it's really fun, and I'm so excited to be doing it live again.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Abby does great workshops. We've had her in our group before, and everyone gets a ton of value because she used to be a teacher, so she knows how to deliver. So she makes you work for it, but you will be so happy that you did. So yeah, I highly recommend it for anyone who really wants to nail that piece of, you have these people now on your list, and now what? You want to be able to talk to them and find out what is it they really want. So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else, Abby? Any other thoughts or takeaways or tips for those who are watching this today?
I mean, I think that the biggest thing is, you truly, there's so many distractions, right? There are so many distractions out there. And when you're trying to promote your business, when you're trying to market things and things are not happening and, you're not getting the traction that you want, it's really frustrating. And I've totally been there also. And it's easy to say to yourself, well, this isn't working, so I'm going to try this. So you try this other thing for 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, that's not working. I'm going to try this. And then it's like, you're always going to feel like you're on this hamster wheel if you do that. You survey your audience, find out where they are, double down on that, put your effort into that, and ignore the other stuff. I have completely ignored Clubhouse. I have not posted a video on YouTube for I don't know how many years, because I used to have a YouTube channel that I publish to regularly. I have not written a blog for so long, and I write blogs. My team and I write blogs for clients. I don't do it for myself. I publish my podcast. I'm active on Facebook. I'm active on Instagram, and I'm just now starting to be more active on LinkedIn. I'm trying. I do publish to all of the platforms because it's automated, because I can schedule it ahead of time. I can have a team member schedule it. I don't have to do it myself. So you do not have to be everywhere, and don't let anybody tell you that you have to be, because you really don't. It's about, the whole summit is optimize your online business. Optimizing, you're figuring out what works and narrowing in on that thing instead of trying to do everything, because you can't do everything. I mean, you could try, but then you'd probably, be a little frazzled and not have time for your family, which is why you're here starting a business in the first place, right?
Yeah, that's right. And if you try to do everything, exactly what you said, you become frazzled, and then you're not having fun, and that comes through too. So the other point of it is, with the relationships, we're trying to be fresh. We're trying to be healthy for ourselves so that we can be our best selves when we're interacting with our audience. And that's such good advice. I love that you don't do all the things and that you promote not to do all the things, because that's the first or the best way to head to burnout, Bill.
Yes. And I want to mention too, I'm glad you said the word relationship again. I want to mention that if you feel like things that you're doing in your business are not working, whether it's marketing or something else, I highly recommend finding people who are at a similar level to you in business and who have the same like growth mindset as you, and really forming relationships with them, trying to, having virtual coffee chats, reaching out to people. I did a ton of that early in my business. I don't do so much of it anymore, but I know that anytime I'm feeling stuck in my business, I have people who I can reach out to, or I will find new people to reach out to. I'm feeling stuck in my life right now. And so I reached out to somebody that I met at the gym, and she and I are going to go have coffee tomorrow. I mean, like, relationships, connection is the best way to get yourself unstuck. And I know that's kind of like not a content marketing related thing, but it really is the best way to get unstuck, is to find like-minded people and build relationships with them. Because you never know what ideas are going to come up from just casual conversations with them either. Like, I have gotten some of the best ideas ever in my business just from casual conversations with people.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful reminder, and it's true. And I mean, that's what Deidre and I are trying to get people to understand, is that, you're you outside of your business and you're you inside your business. So let's make it so that you don't have to compartmentalize and be someone completely different. I think a lot of people get caught up in the whole, you have to put up a facade and you have to know all the things and you have to have the pitch ready and you have to do this. And you really don't. People actually want to know a real person. They don't want to know, a Teflon Don type of person that's just all made up and fake. They want real, and they want connection.
And I think that at our age, in your 40s and up, I think that hopefully we have enough security in who we are to be able to do that. And I feel like the older I get, the better I am at just business in general, just because I'm more secure in who I am and what I want and what I want to make of my life in this second half. And so I think that it's really important to recognize that. Yeah,
I agree.
I have one thought on this too. I hear a lot of people say, especially when you're in service-based business, that, you're putting yourself out there as the expert, right? The expert in what it is that you do. And I think that sometimes we think that being an expert means we have to act a certain way, or we have to, it's like putting on the suit to go to work, how you have to be professional. And, when you go to work, it's almost like you're a different person sometimes than when you're at home. But in your online business, and when you're serving others and you're helping them and you're doing it because you want to make an impact, and in all of this content, it is really important to always ask yourself that, am I putting on my suit, to be the expert, or am I, really being me? Now, it doesn't, obviously there's extremes, and you don't, want to show up with, a lollipop and, your hair a mess when you're on a live. but the point is, it's like, you're an expert in your own right. That doesn't change. You're an expert through and through. And so you don't have to act a certain way or talk a certain way. As long as you're being clear, and as long as your intention is to serve those people, and that's what you're there for, it's going to shine through. So you can just be authentic.
Yes. I will say that there's one part of me personally that I don't really show up, that doesn't show up in my business. And that's because I don't think it's professional. And not that we have to be like super professional in our online businesses, because I do think that, like you said, Deirdre, there's like this level of, there's a level of professionalism, and then there's the authenticity, and we can mold those. I don't use profanity in my business, but I'm a complete potty mouth in real life. So That's
Same
one
here.
line that I draw that I really try not to, with some business friends, they'll hear me, drop a couple of words, but I really try not to do that in business. But yeah, like that's not me being inauthentic. That's just me recognizing that there are people out there who are listening who I don't know, and people who listen to my podcast who, I've bleeped out words before that guests have said, just because I know that kids listen sometimes, and like people don't want their kids to hear those words, and I totally get that. So yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm being inauthentic. It just means that I'm like recognizing other people's thoughts and beliefs and little ones listening.
That's right.
Yeah. And that reminds me of, I know there was a big craze at one point where people were saying, if that's how you talk, be that way. And there were all these people that went all in on it, and maybe it worked for them, maybe it didn't, but I'm with you, Abby, because same thing, potty mouth off camera, but I wouldn't put that in everything because then you're repelling a certain amount of people, right? And it's by virtue of how you're speaking, that's not where your wisdom is. Like the potty mouth piece isn't part of what is the value that you're giving. If for some reason that was the value, then sure, maybe you'd want to keep it in. But I can't imagine any business where that actually is the value that you're giving.
Yeah. And I don't know that those are necessarily the types of clients I want to work with anyway. One of my clients is in the education space, and I don't think she would appreciate, a bunch of profanity on my stuff. And she probably wouldn't have hired me as a former teacher. I completely, my values completely align with what she's doing and her beliefs and her values and what she's trying to bring to the public. So yeah, you just kind of have to figure out where you fit and what's important to you.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we've got people watching. I don't see any comments. I have some happy faces from Anna. That's great. Thank you, Anna. And then if anyone has questions, drop them here because we will be looking at the chat. I know that we have an extra step in here. We've been having tech issues, so we apologize, but we will make sure that everyone gets these on the replay. And if you're just looking under every presentation today, the scheduled one, I will be dropping the real link in the comments so that you can head over to where we are live. So apologies for the extra step, but please drop your comments in below. Abby will be keeping an eye out on them. We'll be keeping an eye out on them. You can also enter your questions for the speakers inside of our VIP portal, which is where when you registered, you were sent. And we've got a form there for you to do that as well. So we want to make sure that everyone's questions are answered. And Anna says you're welcome. Thanks, Anna. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Anna.
And so we now in half an hour, we will be on again with RJ. So everyone take a break. And then Kathy Ford, she's saying great content. Thanks, Kathy. We're happy that everyone's on here. I apologize for the glitch again, but it's working. We've just got an extra step in there, and that's okay. So hashtag real life, hashtag tech gremlins, whatever you want to say. Okay, so we'll see you in a half an hour. We will keep our eyes out on all of the chats, the comments here to make sure that any questions that come up, Abby gets them, or for each presenter, we will answer all your questions. So don't be shy, and we'll see you later. Bye.